I'm coming up on my 7th year of marriage, and I figured let me share my 7 tips that I've learned personally from marriage with you. If you stay till the end, I'll tell you what I would do differently. Just please don't tell my wife. If you're new to the channel, my name is Bennett Schwartz, and I'm here to help you get richer both personally and financially. So if you are looking to become wealthy, make sure to hit the subscribe and the like button and share with any friends that you think might enjoy some of this content as well. When it comes to marriage, most people think that it should just be seamless, right? You went through the whole dating period, you ended up getting married, and then it's over. And the truth is, it's actually when it just begins. And most people don't really recognize that. They think when marriage happens that these are just going to be amazing and everything should just continue to go flow. However, when you mix two different people together living under the same roof, things can get a little bit heated. So, therefore, I want to share with you these 7 tips that I have personally learned. I'm sure you might disagree with some of these. I'm sure you might have other tips, and I'm sure in another 7 years from now, they might be extremely different. But just for you, for now, let's figure out what are the 7 tips that I learned while being married for my first 7 years of marriage. Coming in at number 1 is this idea of you don't have to be right. And what I mean by that is that so many times you have two people who are living together. There are going to be things that they're going to disagree about, quote unquote, maybe fight about. However, if you could recognize that the point isn't to be right, it is to work on the relationship, that sometimes you might have to just say, you know what, I messed up and it's okay and I'm sorry for that, and then move forward. If we could recognize that it's not about being right or wrong, it's just about working on the relationship and recognize that as a unit, this is extremely important, and if I can work on this to the best of our capabilities, then we'll be able to achieve X, Y, Z result. Then we'll be able to do those things and realize that, you know what, the small things are just not worth it. Coming in at number 2 is the quality versus the quantity time. So many times people don't necessarily have the time, and you know what, maybe there are going to be times in your life that you're going to have time to spend together, and maybe there are going to be times in your life that you might not have. Think about it. When you first got married, you probably had more time to hang out than when you have 6 kids. So understanding that there's going to be times in your life where things are going to swing, there's going to be the pendulum, that there are going to be times when you have time and times that you don't have time, but it doesn't mean we can't work on the relationship every single day. So recognizing, you know what, sometimes there's going to be a quantity aspect to it, and sometimes there's going to be a quality aspect of it. But realizing, you know what, life is sometimes gets a little stressful. So we have our bills, we have our kids, we have other things that are going on in our life that really don't necessarily allow us as spouses to really connect. So if we could recognize, you know what, it's not just about the quantity, but it's also about the quality. So even if we only have 5 or 10 minutes together to really hang out, let's make those 5 or 10 minutes count. And maybe it's, you know what, I can't really do all these things that I would like to be doing with you. Maybe I like to go out every single night, but guess what? When we do have those times, make sure you take advantage of them, because if you can take advantage of the small times, I guarantee you it's going to continue lighting that fire moving forward for the rest of your relationship. Coming in at number 3 is this idea that I learned from Dr. Gary Newman. Dr. Gary Newman has been on Oprah. He talks about relationships. He really helps kids who went through divorce, parents' house, and then he started helping people who actually get divorced. And he says that the number 1 idea that somebody could do in order to help a relationship is not communication. What everybody says. Yes, of course, it's important to be able to communicate, but it's appreciation. And I think this idea of realizing that, you know what, I just need to appreciate the other person for what they're doing. And if you can do that long enough, then you'll be able to really continue to build that relationship. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter what profession you're in, it doesn't matter what relationship you're in. If you can start appreciating what the other person is doing, you'll be able to really get their respect. They'll be able to want to work harder. They'll want to continue doing the things that they want to do because you appreciate what it is that they're doing. So even if it's something that's a minimal task that is something maybe you don't want to be doing, like changing diapers, at the end of the day, if you can show your appreciation and say, you know what, I really appreciate you doing those things today. I really appreciate you folding laundry. I really appreciate you going out to work today. I really appreciate how you actually handle working with our son or daughter when things got a little bit sticky. And then show that appreciation, so the next time they do it, then they're going to continue to do it because, you know what, so-and-so really appreciates me doing it. I'm going to continue doing it and I'm going to continue to get better. And trick, we work the same way. So if somebody shows appreciation to us, we're going to want to continue to do that, continue to provide and continue to do the services for the other person as well. So just recognize this relationship trick should not only be used in spouses, but also in any other type of relationships that you have moving forward. Coming in at number 4 is probably my favorite, and I would say possibly the most important one that I have used with my wife. So being that we're both different, and being that we both have our different interests, and being that we're just 2 different human beings, one of the things we have to recognize is that certain things are going to make you tick and certain things are going to make them tick. We're just 2 different people. And guess what? That's okay. And we have to realize that it's okay and we're going to be different. However, whatever. We have to learn to be able to translate that to the other person so they can also work on themselves to become better, that they can help us become who we are. So therefore, one of the things that I am so grateful that I started doing with my wife from the beginning, which was so lucky and it's totally her doing, was that I started to quote unquote get vulnerable with her. And what I mean by that is that whenever there was something I was going through that I thought she could change or she could do differently, I said to her, honey, I'm about to be very vulnerable here. And what that vulnerable word meant is that I am going to be opening up right now because something is bothering me, it's hurting me, and I need you to listen and I need you to help quote unquote support me in this time. And by doing that, she was able to understand that I'm not coming in and I'm not attacking her by doing something different. It's just I need something from her. And she has done it to me. And by doing that, we can actually work on this bigger picture of the relationship and look that we can both be vulnerable with one another to just have this open communication. A lot of times what ends up happening with different spouses is that people feel like they're attacking the other person. You did this, you did that. But if you come in and say, hey, I am going through something, I need your help for doing something, would you mind supporting me on doing X, Y, and Z? You're coming in with a totally different angle. And you can see how different that is, just that energy that you're really reaching out to the other person with by saying, hey, can you please help me out with doing this thing? The fifth tip is pretty cliche, but at the end of the day, we do have our bills, we have our kids, we have all these different things that are going on that are stressful. We have to remember to have fun, right? Fun is not just for the dating life. It's not for only when we're going to quote unquote be retired with a total other video about whether you should retire or not retire. But for now, realizing that fun should be happening all the time. And sometimes we just need to take off the pressure. We need to be able to sit back and relax and to enjoy our spouse and do the things that maybe we used to always do. My wife and I sometimes go back to the games we used to play when we were married, whether it's Rummy Cup, whether it's Jenga, doing certain things that we can actually move forward with and continue to have that fun, because if we're not going to have fun and things are going to get sour, and if we're only talking about the fact that we need to pay our mortgage and we need to pay tuition and we do all these fun things, then guess what? We're only going to be talking about stressful things. Make sure to have fun, make sure to go on dates, make sure to do those other things that you can actually continue to build your relationship upon, not only the stressful things, but the fun things as well. Number 6 is support. And what I mean by support is we need to be able to trust our spouse. If they have an idea, if they have something that they want to be doing, we shouldn't necessarily shut it down. And this gets really tricky because many times people will have an idea and then another idea and then another idea and then another idea. And it's really recognizing what is it that this person needs from me? What is it, an actual idea, or what is just this hypothetical idea that maybe they're just thinking about? And this is something my wife does totally better than I do, is that whenever I have a new idea, so I end up running it by my wife, and instead of her just rolling her eyes and Bennett's got another idea, she ends up listening to me, she ends up supporting me on what it is that I want to be doing. And most of the time, I talk myself out of it, so it's not really a big deal. So instead of her saying, hey Bennett, that's a terrible idea, guess what? In a day or two, I'll probably come up with that also. But recognizing that if you or your spouse has an idea, that you can actually be working on those things together and really look to support one another. The whole reason why I actually have this YouTube channel in the first place is because I was doing my coaching and I was like, I really want to start this YouTube channel. And I told my wife about it and I was a little embarrassed, a little nervous, because you know what? There's other things that I've been wanting to do in coaching also. And then I realized that this is something that really speaks to me, that I can really help so many different people with so many different ideas that they just don't know about. So when I looked to start this channel, I told my wife, and she texted me right after our conversation, that we had that initial conversation, and she said, honey, if YouTube is what it is, then let's do it. And honestly, that was so meaningful to me personally. I started tearing, which is silly to say that I started tearing over a YouTube channel, but it wasn't necessarily over the YouTube channel. It was more about the support that she was giving me and the belief in me that she trusts me to do the things that I want to do. So if your spouse has something that they want to be doing that is important to them, listen to them, hear them out. If it's something that they want to continue to take to the next level, support them in their journey. And if it's something that is nothing, then the fact that you didn't tell them, it's not your job to tell them yes or no. Your job is to help support them. And if they come to it with their own ideas that they shouldn't do something, then they won't do it anyways, and you're just where you started off. The seventh and final tip that I learned from being married is to listen. Yes, it seems very simple. We have to listen to one another, but not just listen to what they say, you have to listen to what they are not saying. And if we could understand that, is that sometimes if we ask somebody, how was your day? And they said it was good, so why didn't they say it was great? What's going on? What's going on with their tone? What's going on with their voice? To get curious about what it is that they're actually going through, listening to what they're saying when they're talking to you, not just listening, but hearing it and really internalizing it and really being present with the person at the moment. And this is really going to transition into what is the one thing that I would change if I could look to go back 7 years ago with my spouse. And the answer is, at the end of the day, there's so many things that are going to be busying us with throughout our days, whether it's work, whether it's finances, whether it's other people. but we have to realize, what is it that really, really matters to us? I know when I'm looking up, when I'm 80, 85 years old, sitting on my rocking chair, I am hoping that I'm going to be sitting next to my wife on her rocking chair. It's going to be pretty cute, both of us just sitting on our rocking chairs, realizing, you know what, we just lived an incredible life together. We have so much more left to go, but this is very exciting. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being with me on this journey, working together, supporting through the good times and the so-called bad times, and really working with one another to continue to move forward, continue to do those things, and to really look back and say, you know what, the important things in life, our family, our faith, everything that is that we're looking to really accomplish in life, the impact that we're looking to have, we all did it, and we did it together. We did it as support with one another, and it's really something that I can't wait to be doing, celebrating with my wife as we get older. So there you have it. You have my 7 tips plus the one thing that I would do differently if I had to go back in time. However, we cannot go back in time. What we can do is we can learn from the past in order to move forward. So what is it that you're looking to do to take from your past to be able to learn forward, to live a richer personal and professional life, to make sure that you're continuing to step it up, getting 1% better every single day? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.